What do you hear? What do you say? Welcome to Winding Away with Corey and Ray. Goodbye.
Dr. Seuss Edition.
Do I drink wine? All the time. Do I like it in my mouth? I like when I swallow it down south. I like when I get buzzy. Next to my sister, not my cousin.
Oh, and aren't you glad that you tuned in?
Wow, this looks much like more orangey on the camera, doesn't it?
It does.
Than
It's
it
the
actually
lighting.
does in real life.
Isn't that
We're
wild?
sorry to throw you with our color palette that we use with all our top-notch equipment. Sorry. But anyway, this particular wine is probably going to give me severe diarrhea. Only because...
I was cleaning out the wine fridge because now that I'm not drinking anymore, I've been going through it and getting rid of old things, saving things for the show, you know, or giving stuff to Debbie to drink that hasn't been drunk in a while that we forgot was
we
even in
actually
there.
haven't heard from Debbie, so we don't know how that went, but...
And so I found this lovely 2011
That's right. You heard right.
2011.
How long ago was that?
Do you remember back?
Ray was still married.
Holy, were you really?
I moved out in October of 2011.
Wow. So this was a special year. I have no idea where I got this from.
How could you?
It is from California, and for some reason, I don't know why I would have bought a Chardonnay in California because I don't usually buy white. But it's a Sonoma Cuvée from Sonoma County.
It's Cuvée.
Cuvée.
Yes.
And it's from
Is
the
it possible
Heidelsberg Winery.
Healdsburg.
Healdsburg.
That's an area in
St. Helena. Helena.
Helena. Let's call
So
the whole thing off.
this is an English lesson today.
Is it possible when you were visiting out in California, maybe this was something they gave you?
Yeah,
here's a souvenir.
We belonged to some wine clubs, and sometimes, you know, it wasn't this winery, but
I
could have gotten.
But I can't see you actually choosing this and buying it.
No, but this is truly from California, so somehow it got home with me.
No, it's truly Californian, and it's truly 14 years old.
And so I tried to find it on Vivino or Google, and there weren't many of them, but you can find it. And I found prices that ranged from $18 to like $45. And you cannot find this vintage at all. But you can find older ones. It's been in a wine fridge all this time, so I would hope that it has lasted.
Well, I can tell you that color-wise, even though we were commenting that it's much darker for some reason on the camera, in actual life, it's really not
bad.
Yeah, the color's not off.
The smell's not off.
You might have lost a little fruit, so I'll say it probably had more pronounced of a nose.
I agree.
But it's not bad.
All right.
It's not like...
Now let's see what it tastes like.
Well, we all know who has to do that. Oh, there'll be comments after this. Yeah.
It's so nondescript he can't even describe it.
The real problem is the burning.
So, what do you think?
Well, there's an
age to it.
There's a great deal of secondary fruit going on here, so you're getting...
What's secondary fruit? Tell the people.
So, the winemaker makes the wine, you put it in the bottle, and we have, his intent on what it tasted like in the fruit, and once it ages, it transforms, and we call these secondary flavors that are the flavors that sort of are born out of the aging.
The new flavor that it morphed into is a secondary flavor. So I actually created a whole new wine by leaving it in there for all these years.
And that's what aging does. And that's why certain wines
are not supposed to be aged.
Are not.
Like this.
But some are. And when you really get to the point where you're a, sommelier with a very, very structured palate, you can now sense flavors that will tell you this is going to be so much better 10 years from now. But you have to recognize, because the flavor that you're hoping to get is not what you're tasting, but what you're tasting tells you that it can go
there
to that other place. So you have, nowadays you have these corvins, like, so you have a wine, you're saving it, you want to know where it's at. It's almost like a
it's
medical
like an airbag
needle
thing, yeah.
that you extract just a little bit so you can taste it and it
leave
doesn't
it.
ruin the remaining wine. And so you'll know, like, it could use a little more time and that kind of thing. Normally you wouldn't do that with this kind of wine. Even though this isn't a cheap bottle, but it's a white. And white's usually 4 years. Now there are white Burgundies, there are some California Chards that are a little more age-worthy, and you can't hold on. A Farniente, for example, Cape Bread Reserve. There are different ones, Flowers, Gary Farrell, that you could hold on to, and they will go through these secondary flavors, and you'll get more butterscotch and creme brulee flavors and things like that. This is a little more like, what a lot of people you'll hear this sometimes with white Burgundies, where they'll say there's a little funk. And it's the funk.
No, see, because you don't have a palate like he does. Tell me if you taste what he's tasting, or if it just...
I really taste nothing. I get a little fuzzy on my tongue.
So Nance says, fuzzy on her tongue.
So the fuzziness is probably the funk, and there you go. So
I mean, her and James Suckling were going back and forth, back and forth. And she insisted, fuzzy on my tongue. And he just said, fuzzy on your tongue, What are you going to do?
So even the middle-priced bottles don't stay forever, even in a wine fridge.
Now, to say this isn't bad, it didn't go bad.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to get sick.
It's just not at its prime. It passed its prime.
Yeah. If you wanted to drink this at its optimal level, we're past it.
Yeah.
But you could still see what can happen to a wine. Now, if we left this, like, say, 5 more years and drank it, it would probably, like as soon as you tasted it, you'd go, ugh. We're not there yet. It's not bad, but it's old. I mean, it's an old bottle of wine,
Drink bad wine when you get sick?
I mean, if it was bad to the point where, like, it tasted like it spoiled somewhat, you probably could get sick.
Yeah.
But if you were to drink this, you want to get sick. You get drunk. But you're not drinking this at its optimal, this kind of Chardonnay. You really wanted to drink this 2015, 2016.
Guess I was busy then.
But you don't really like white. So
I know,
that's
so
why
I lost track of
you
it.
put it in the fridge and,
Yeah.
you forgot about it. Because it's not a bottle that you would really look for. But, you can age whites. But this probably wasn't,
But it didn't go completely
optimal
bad,
candidate.
which is
No,
the
it
moral
didn't.
of the story.
and that's because you kept it in a wine fridge,
Yeah. So temperature control for your wines, especially if you're going to hold on to them for a little bit, is obviously key. Because it stays out of the light,
And it doesn't,
stays the
it
same
doesn't,
temperature, it doesn't fluctuate, and
it doesn't seem to have any sediment.
no.
Which, for whites isn't that rare, but sometimes if you age it enough, you'll start to see, like, some pulp and things like that. But yeah, don't run out and get a 2011, but you could certainly get yourself a Sonoma Chardonnay and just try to get one that's not, as old as your high school child.
And that's the moral of the story for today. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, cheers to California wine.
Did you actually? Okay, I was going to say, I didn't hear that.
You're going deaf.
Cheers to California girls. I wish they all could be California girls.
Okay, and cheers to our relatives in California, and all of our family and friends who watch the show. Thank you. Cheers to you.
And like and comment.
Yes,
Here's to you.
please.
And one day we'll have a bottle